Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters, and today we're going to be building the new Tamiya 35th scale Russian SU76M. Let's get started on it. Okay, I want to give you guys a basic once-over on this kit since it is a brand new kit. And actually, I had hoped to have this video out a little bit earlier, but my first wave that arrived at my store about a week and a half ago completely sold out in a couple of days, so I didn't have an extra one to start building. But now that the other order has come in, I can start. First of all, the tracks are primarily individual links, as you can see right here. There is a bottom panel right here that's going to cover, because it's not flexing at all. Plus, they also give you a nice jig right here that'll go to make it really nice for the sag that's normally going to occur in those type of tracks. You get all the suspension parts, the wheels. These are some of the upper body portions. All looks really nice. It's actually not a bathtub type chassis on this one right here. You have to actually build it up, which will be a little different. And the barrel looks like it's been molded in one piece, and it looks actually really nice. No seam on it. We'll get to the oh, there's the muzzle brake right there. Might have to do a little bit of sanding and filling on that right there, but looks pretty good. And also the figures they gave you look very nice as well. Actually pretty decent quality. The only thing you might want to change out would be the heads. Maybe get some hornet heads, although looking at that one is not actually too bad at all. And then the last sprue are some of the other odds and ends that will have to go on the tank. So now that you've seen all the sprues, let's get started on the building. Hey, while we're getting started, I just wanted to take this opportunity to encourage all of my followers and subscribers, or anyone just watching any of my videos, to just get out there and have fun modeling. There are constantly people coming up to me and writing me and telling me about how they're afraid to show off their work in fear of non-constructive criticism, because there are a lot of haters out in the world. And my advice to you is don't model for them. You're modeling for yourself. Just go out there and have fun. And the only way you're going to learn is by keep modeling. And don't let any of them bring you down. This is one of the nice parts about building a Tamiya kit. This piece right here is molded as one piece. whereas almost any other company on the market, this would probably be at least 4 pieces, and then having to mold together all the different angles. When you've just built a couple of kits that have a lot of parts, it's kind of enjoying to come back and actually have something that goes together way easier. And another one that's been super well designed and engineered is this little corner piece right here. As you can see, it just pops right into place. Super fine fit, and looks like a really nice piece. And all of that was just a couple of pieces to put together. Okay, and one other last thing while we're putting on these shell racks right here. I only assembled partial amount of the shell rack, and you don't want to put the shells or the other pieces in because it's going to make it a lot harder to paint later on. So just go ahead and install the shell racks. There, we'll paint the shells up last, and then there's an outer bracket that'll hold the shells in place, but that'll be easy to put on afterwards. So, and then once that part is done right here, this is going to just slide right into place right here, and actually just clicks in right there. So we'll put a little glue on that and hold that in place. Okay, just like the last time, I've not installed the shells into the holders, and that's going to be so we can paint the shells later on once we get them together, and we'll be able to put the bracket right over it. There's some tiny little holes right here that we need to line up. There they go. And also what I've done is I've gone ahead and glued on all the little pieces onto the side here because it's pretty straightforward in the instructions, and it's kind of hard to film because they're such tiny pieces. You end up dropping half of them. So we'll just go ahead and put some glue on this. This leading edge right here. That fits pretty good. Then on the other side, we do the same thing. Okay, what I've done here is I've glued together the 34 pieces of the track that they require, and then before the glue completely dries, it's starting to set up, but it's still not tacky anymore. That way it won't stick to this piece right here. So with the jig in place right there, you want to line up the first pin with the first pin in the track, and then gradually just work your way across, pushing it down. And this should give us our sag once it sets up. So we're gonna let this dry just in that position right there and give it about a half an hour or so, and then pull it off and see how it looks. I've gone ahead and assembled the tracks on this side of the vehicle. I have to say right off, I'm not a huge fan of these type of tracks. When they start giving you the length like this on the bottom, it seems like I never can really get them to match up exactly. In fact, even on the back right here, it says to use 13 links, and 13 was too much. I actually ended up taking one out and getting it down to 12. The front wasn't as bad. Honestly, for these type of tracks right here, they probably could have went ahead with rubber bands. One other thing I'll point out too is I wish some of the manufacturers, if they are listening, would consider doing is anytime you have any tiny little pieces that, which I can't seem to find one right now, but some like the little grab handles or pieces like that, that they would go ahead and just mold a couple extra ones on the sprue, because inevitably you're going to break one, or one of them pops off and goes flying across the room and you never find it again. Just something a little minor like that, but especially on really tiny parts, not all of them, but just parts that you're going to use quite often, that they would just mold a couple extra ones on the sprue. But I've also gone ahead and assembled this piece right here, the fender. So we'll go ahead and put this on and get going on the other side of the tracks. Okay, I've gone ahead and completed all the construction on there. The only thing I haven't done so far is I haven't put on some of the tools, because we're going to paint those separately. I've gone and put on all the little bars and all the extra little pieces inside the kit. The kit itself is very simple to put together. It's probably about 4.5 hours worth of actual construction time for everything except for the tracks. The tracks are a little bit tricky in some areas, just trying to get that sag. Because once you push it into that thing, you got to make sure that it's completely pushed into that jig they give you. Because I've noticed when I did this side, has the sag to it, but I probably didn't push it in as far as I needed to. So it was actually one less track that Tamiya said to put on the back. But that was a minor thing. I think the sag is decent enough on it, and it'll look really good. So now that we've got all the construction built on it, we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to paint the entire model with XF69 NATO Black. This is not really a primer. This is going to be a shadow coat. And this is going to have a little shadow effect once we actually paint the outer paint job on it. And so let's go ahead and do that right now. One other thing I want to point out to you too is when you're using the Tamiya liquid cement, and you get it on these little areas right here. You'll see these little shiny spots, and it looks like you've messed up the model kit or anything. One thing I want to show you on that, all that does is actually just make the paint shiny, or excuse me, the plastic shiny. When we go ahead and paint over it, you'll see that it actually hasn't damaged the plastic at all, and all those shiny spots just completely disappear. Might be easier to see it on that one right there, but all that is completely gone. The other reason we use the NATO black is to see where we have any flaws, if we need to do any patching. Like if once this dries right here, we'll see if the seam in the barrel needs to be taken care of any further. Okay, I mixed up a little bit of a rust color, and I'll show you the basic little recipe how to do that. You're going to use 1 drop of black or NATO black, doesn't matter on that, about 3 drops of just regular flat red, and 2 drops of XF6 copper. And then you're going to add a little bit of like an iron oxide, either brown iron oxide or any one of the Vallejo Pigments rust colors, and you'll blend it up right there. The benefit of that, it's going to be very, very thick, but once it dries, not only will it dry flat, it'll have like a grainy effect to it from the pigment that has gone inside of it, and give it kind of like a flaky rust look. So now that we've mixed that up, we're going to go ahead and paint that onto the vehicle. I've gone ahead and painted the rust color in through here. I also applied some of the tools, and I'll be doing a little bit more touch-up on those as we go along here. I've also sprayed the entire model now with a dull coat, and that's going to seal in all the paint so we can start doing our weathering on top of the other coats of paint. Okay, now that we put those decals on, we're going to obviously let those dry completely, and maybe put 1 coat of microsol on it just to soften them and make sure they've completely adhered. And then after that, we're going to dull coat the entire area again. That way the decals will be sealed between 2 layers of lacquer. That way the decal won't flake off later on. Okay, we just got done doing a little dry brushing. We were using NATO Black on that part. Now we're going to use XF57 buff, and we're just going to mist over the entire model. I'm going to pull back a little bit on the camera. Okay, I finished up the last little bits of construction on it here. I didn't do much weathering on the kit other than a little bit of dry brushing on the corners, and then of course the buff coat to kind of flatten everything down. I wanted to make this more of a review of the kit since this is a brand new kit from Tamiya. The kit overall is excellent quality, very good fit on all the little pieces, and I do like the fact that Tamiya made a lot of the pieces in bigger groups, so there's not like 7 or 8 parts to glue together to make one part that's going to be hidden away anyway. The entire kit probably took about 8 hours total of build time. The only thing that has a little bit of effort would be the tracks, and from this point all the way around through the sag to this point, these are all individual and they're very tiny, so you do have to have a little bit of time and effort to manipulate those to get them just to go around right. It does come with a sprue part that'll help you make this sag right here, but still you want to be careful with it because it's still 34 tracks you have to glue together on the top to make sure you get them right, and you have to do a lot of sanding on the individual tracks. But overall, like I said, it's nothing impossible. It's just a little extra time and effort on that. I love the kit. Do plan on building the figures and probably doing a winter camouflage scheme with it. Hopefully we'll have a video for that in the future, or I might just show you someday how I finished it off. And this will actually end up looking really good next to its big brother, the JS152, which is a beast of a tank. Get it into camera frame right there. So I might be able to do some kind of diorama with the two of the vehicles together. And that's it. And I appreciate you watching the video. It's been a fun build. I hope you want to pick one of these up and get to building yourself, because you'll have a lot of fun with it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned because we have more videos coming. Thank you.